Let's get into the college quarterbacks because even though we talk about it every day, it's a lot of fun. We didn't expect the Niners to trade up to 3, and we feel like we got to make up for lost time. So the first few days, the reaction was like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" And now, like, I think we've kind of settled in that most people feel that it's either going to come down to Justin Fields or Mac Jones. There are some other permutations that could happen, but these are the two most likely. So let's go with them. I know you like Justin Fields, and I like Justin Fields too. Just not as much as you. I like Mac Jones. You like him as much, just not as you like him too, just not as much as me. So I figured let's have a little debate. You make the case for Justin Fields, why he's the pick at 3, and I'll respond with some follow-up questions, and then you can do the same for me and Mac Jones.
For sure. So with Justin Fields, obviously, guys, you see all the tools. The pro day really shouldn't have swung you either way. All that stuff is on film. It's on tape. The narrative of him being a runner is unbelievably wrong. He's a pocket passer. People have been telling me he's not accurate. That's not true. The most accurate at all 3 levels. Don't understand where that's coming from. People say that he can't read the field. Don't know where that's coming from. He absolutely does that as well, too. We've talked about the plays and the reads and everything else. I think really what's got me over here, and I don't want to take away from one of the topics that you have, but really what's got me over the moon with this kid is 2 things. Confidence. Walks in the room, seems like the man. That's important, especially if he, if there's a chance that he's going to be the guy at day 1. You got to be able to command that room. Second, toughness. I don't like after Kyle Shanahan has dealt with what he's dealt with with quarterbacks. Cracked rib against Clemson, comes right back in, destroys Trevor Lawrence. But hey, you don't want to. You guys don't want to hear about that.
No, that's a really good point because Kyle has said his number 1 most important, gotta have it trait is toughness, and it's what basically you could argue it's what's getting Jimmy run out of town. The fact that he hasn't displayed it. And Justin Fields has it.
Cracked rib, 6 touchdowns against the Golden Boy. But, I mean, y'all don't want to hear that.
That's a great point.
And then, the other thing is just everything else with the QB collective stuff, right? All that stuff that's there, whatever, that's fine.
Yes.
But
there's history. He knows Justin Fields.
Right. So when you listen to him talk to the media after, he talked about Kyle Shanahan and all that stuff and wanting to see another thing, the comments. I want to throw again because I want to show everybody that I can do this every single day the same way because I'm built like that. That again, words, actions, confidence, all that stuff. When you line all that up together and then you talk about this offense and the way that Kyle's going to get guys open, it's a slam dunk. I don't really see what's the issue. People are overthinking it at this point. People are pushing narratives for somebody else. People don't, the smoke screens are insane right now. There's so many respected people that I look to for information that now I really have to change the way that I'm looking at them just based on the way that they're talking about Mac Jones over Justin Fields. It's a little bit upsetting, honestly. It's really, really some.
Well, don't hold it against me because I rank Mac Jones ahead of Justin Fields. So don't hold it. But
no. But
I see what you're saying, man. It's like they're on the 2 different ends of the spectrum. You just line them up next to each other. It's like. Look at Mac Jones, man. Look at him. It's amazing. I see what you're saying. But can I ask you some questions now about Fields? Or I didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you have more? Did you want to make a case for him?
So one guy looks like an Adonis, can run. The other guy looks like he's 3 sandwiches away from.
I look better than Mac Jones. I have
a better body than Mac Jones as well too. That's right. Yeah. I mean, so it's. Look, I know that has nothing to do with it because it's neither here nor there. It's not. I'm just throwing some extra stuff on there. And also, one more thing, throw the dancing on there because it makes people so upset that he dances, and I love it. I love it. It makes people so mad. That's why I keep continuing to post the dancing stuff because it makes people so mad.
Also, the Niners have a void at dancer because they lost Kendrick Bourne, so that might be something that is actually a box that Justin Fields checks off. That
check another one.
Practice. They seem to like that stuff on the Niners. There's a lot of dancing at the Niners. I'm just saying.
The stuff that gets me upset and has been coming out is the work ethic thing. That completely is just slander out of nowhere. Okay. You're telling me that this man was at Ohio State, sat in front of all of those people, and made his case to be there, and they walked away thinking, this kid's not working? Come on, man. Like, I just don't understand. There's whispers. Get out of here. Just admit that you're just making stuff up to prop up whatever it is that you want to prop up. I'm not yelling at you, Grant. I'm talking about those people.
Dan Orlovsky, I didn't get the feeling that he lied. I get the feeling that he shared like a secondhand, third-hand telephone rumor that was explosive. And it's like, dude, who told you that? How true is it? Because it's very explosive what you just said. And you offended a lot of people, not just Justin Fields and his camp, but You know, a lot of people that feel like they're like black quarterbacks don't get a fair shot, that kind of thing. It's like, Dan, you understand what you just did. Maybe you really heard that, but it's not rock solid enough for you to say it, because look what you have to do the next day. You see what he's doing? It's like the day that Drew Brees had to like put a million things on Instagram and say that he's one with that. You know, remember that? After you know what I'm saying? It was Drew Brees Day for Dan Orlovsky. Sorry, Dan. You messed that one up, buddy. You got to be really careful when you talk about Justin Fields.
For sure.
You can say whatever you want about Kellen Mond, but Justin Fields, you better be careful, buddy. All I'm saying. Okay, so let me ask you some questions, because I don't want to get in trouble like Dan Orlovsky did.
No, you're good. You're good, Grant. You're solid.
You got it. I have no questions about Justin Fields' athleticism. I think he's a freak athlete. That throw he made was crazy. He's got a great deep ball, and he's super fast, and he's tough, and all the things you said. He's confident. He's been in the spotlight his whole life. He's built for this. Only thing that I saw a lot of like when he had his pro day, people being like, boom, that's all I needed. That's the confirmation I wanted. See, I have questions about him, and I don't think he can address them in a setting like that. The questions I have come from his live games. And I tweeted early this morning. I said, to me, what determines success in the NFL for quarterbacks is, do they know what to do under pressure? Do they know where to go with the ball? And can they get it there quickly? And I mean, I think it's hard to see it with a lot of these quarterbacks because they're not under pressure that much. But with Fields, I feel like there's a lot of statistics and game film that show you he doesn't always know, not always, he is inconsistent at best under pressure. He holds the ball longer against a blitz than when he doesn't face a blitz. And his quarterback rating against pressure is pretty low. So my question is, does that concern you?
So again, nobody's perfect. And if I had any concern, I think it really comes from the fact that Justin Fields is so athletically gifted that he continues to try to make plays and tries to try to extend the play. And that's something that he needs to be coached up on. Another thing is offensive line for Ohio State was awful. When I watch those games, he's always got like a defender in his face and things like that. One more thing I want to say. Nobody ever really brings this up, and it was brought up on ESPN, and it's a beautiful point. Nobody's competition was harder defense-wise than Justin Fields. Nobody. Yeah,
they had some really, like, Indiana had a really good defense. Northwestern had a really good defense. That's what Zach Wilson, it's just Northwestern, but no, actually, they're really good defense.
Zach Wilson is facing, like, 43 and 44th ranked defenses, and you guys are fawning all over him because he's throwing from clean pockets. Yeah. Meanwhile, Justin Fields, while he has his deficiencies, because everybody does, I can pick apart anybody, and point out what I don't like about them.
Of course.
But nobody ever wants to bring up the fact that, one, his line was awful, and two, he faced the hardest competition out of everybody. That's the context that you need around those things. Does he have to improve on that stuff? Yes. But it's because he's so athletically gifted that he continues to try to make plays. And you know what? I'm not going to knock him for that. He's only lost 2 games in the 2 years that he was there.
Yes. Yeah, so I guess with Fields, like I do think he's the kind of guy who could have success like Cam Newton did. I mean, I think there's a lot of similarities between him and Cam Newton. I don't see the Deshaun Watson comparison. That's lofty. But Cam was an MVP as well. My thing with Justin Fields is, what happened to Cam? Once he got to about 25, 26, and he'd taken all those hits and he's been a tough guy, it just caught up with him, and he never, although he's still hanging with it. He may have a second career renaissance where he shows like the quarterback ability, but at a certain point, you gotta, like, the quarterback skills have to catch up. And my question with Fields is, will they? Will they? Because I think he's green in a lot of areas. He may. On the Niners, he may. I guess it's just the mental side. Jimmy didn't improve on the Niners in the mental side. Maybe Justin Fields doesn't have a deficiency on the mental side at all. Maybe it's all Ohio State and the offense he's in, making him look bad. It's just, I guess it's hard to answer those questions. That's all I'm saying.
I'll say this about him and Cam. I see the similarities in build because I didn't realize how big Justin Fields is. But here's the thing that he has going for him over Cam. He's a better passer, and he's more accurate at every level than Cam is. Cam would hit 62%, whatever. That's like the high watermark. I feel like Justin Fields can blow past that, at least and consistently, right? Cam came in the league, wasn't accurate, and then continued to get less accurate. Justin Fields is the most accurate of all of these quarterbacks coming out, with the deficiencies in the line as well. So that's why with the Cam thing, I'm not as worried. I'm not, and he's not going to run like Cam. He's not going to run like Cam. Cam was too physical as a runner, and they used him like that in Carolina. They basically just used him as a battering ram. I don't see the 49ers or anybody using Justin Fields like that.
Cam did complete 66% of his throws at Auburn. I know this because I was looking at him earlier. He won the national championship. He won the Heisman. compared to anyone to Cam coming out of college is pretty high praise.
Lofty.
If he's better than Cam, all praise to him. I think Cam would have put up some crazy numbers at Ohio State. Because you say what you want, Ohio State does make your job a little, just like Alabama does, just like for Mac Jones. So anyway, you answered my questions about Justin Fields very well. I think he has a lot going for him. And if a coach could tell me, look, I see what you're saying about the mental side of his game. I can handle that. Give me 2 years. Look what Buffalo did with Josh Allen. I can do that with Justin Fields. I would be open-minded to that. I'd be definitely open-minded. So let's talk.
Kyle Shanahan would get him in the right spots. That's it. So yeah.
Fair enough. So let's talk Mac Jones. The reason I think that Kyle Shanahan is going to be like a troll here and be the smartest guy in the room and do what everyone doesn't want him to do and take Mac Jones is because I really feel like people are tired of Jimmy Garoppolo for a lot of reasons. And a lot of people want a new type of quarterback on the Niners, the more evolved 2020 version of a quarterback, a guy who can really run, a guy who is like, Josh Allen or Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes. And I think that's what people want. But Kyle Shanahan, I don't think he wants to adjust his formula. I think he wants to keep together the same exact team that he had in 2019 because I think he really thinks it works. I think he wants to change as little about it as possible. And bringing in a guy like Trey Lance or Justin Fields, I think would require some adjustments on Kyle Shanahan's part. Not that they're big or that they're so outrageous, but some adjustments, a little more quarterback-driven runs, whatever. I just think he feels that he doesn't need to make a single adjustment. His team is ready. And when he looks at Mac Jones, I have a feeling, I could be wrong, that he sees what he hoped he would get from Jimmy Garoppolo when he got him. I mean, physically, he's like a young Jimmy without the torn ACL, maybe quicker feet, better feet, about the same build, about the same arm strength. But the difference is that, at least on film at Alabama, Mac Jones knows where to go with the ball. He's on time. He's in rhythm. He's not like dropping back and just hesitating the way Jimmy Garoppolo does on the 49ers. And I think when Kyle looks at Mac, correctly or not, he says, man, if Jimmy could just do this, we'd have won that Super Bowl. And so while Justin Fields may have so much more upside, Kyle's thinking, man, I don't care. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And even if it's no better than 13th best quarterback in the NFL at like Kirk Cousins is, with me on my team, we win the Super Bowl. That's how I look. I think he looks at Mac.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I respectfully disagree?
Yes, of course.
So here's the thing. When you listen to him talk, remember the Kirk Cousins question rubbed him the wrong way because he's tired of being pigeonholed as the guy who wants somebody like Kirk Cousins or that Kirk Cousins is his quarterback that he envisions, right? I actually think that he is going to look at one of these higher profile guys because he's tired of having this stripped down playbook and he's tired of being on point and having to have the correct call every time. He wants someone to bail him out. That Patrick Mahomes quote was really big for me. I just don't think Mac Jones is that. What the version of this Kyle Shanahan offense that you're seeing right now is bare bones at the minimum. And how do I know? There are certain concepts where basically to make things easier for every quarterback, pre-snap, you look straight, you cut the field in half, you pick your side. And when you pick that other side, that side is gone. So now you're taking away reads because you're making it easier and you're hoping that he can figure that stuff out. The Atlanta version of this offense is the offense that he really wants to be in, I believe. And I don't think you can have that with Mac Jones, considering, even if it was with Matt Ryan, who comps to Mac Jones. He does, absolutely. He comps to him because of pocket presence and all that stuff and the way that he moves in the pocket. But again, Kyle Shanahan watched Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, all these toolsy guys kick his ass this year. Sorry, didn't mean to curse at that. And you telling me that he thinks that
if they can say it on cable, you can say it on this show.
All right, cool. Yeah. So if he thinks that, getting a version of Jimmy Garoppolo is going to beat those guys or take them to the next level, I don't know. That's some flawed logic in my eyes, I think, if that's what he's thinking. I see the point. I see how he fits. Again, if he's the pick, I'm not going to like it. But I also know that there will be success in this offense with it. It's not like you're drafting a bum. It's not like you're taking Jamie Newton. No, he's not a bum. I don't want to say that. It's not like you're taking Ian Book, at like 3. Mac Jones can still play. I just feel like when I hear Coach talk, when I hear those comments and the way he was talking about it, I just think that it's time that he moved up to 3 to swing for the fences this time, not go for the suicide squeeze.
Maybe. I just still feel like Kyle's ideal quarterback is prime Drew Brees. You know, the guy who gets the ball out instantly, on time, and to the right guy. Is he an athlete? Not particularly. Does he have a strong arm? Not particularly. He just executes correctly every time and in rhythm. And I feel like Kyle really believes that that's all he needs. That's all he needs. And the other stuff is cool, but he's not willing to sacrifice the decisiveness, rhythm, smarts at all. And if he has any questions about that with a guy, he's going to look past him. That's the way I look at it. Now, I'm not saying that Mac Jones is Drew Brees, but it's just that when you watch him on film, he's on time and in rhythm, going to the right guy mostly. And I just feel like Kyle's the kind of film watcher guy who would look at the tiny little details and be like, well, look, I mean, if Jimmy could do that, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't be picking a quarterback. You know what I mean? I can just hear him saying it. Maybe he's wrong, but with like, for example, you say he wants to have the Atlanta version of the offense. Okay, but they do have Brandon Ayuk, who's I think is gonna be a monster down the field. But everyone else is really built to get yards after the catch. I think it's more of a yak offense than an air yards offense, if you to make a distinction. And I think Fields, kind of like young Cam, is going to thrive in an air yards offense. That dude is built to just bomb it, man. So
yeah,
a lot of short throws in the Niners offense.
Yeah, for sure. But you make good points though. And but here's the thing. Again, it goes back to Justin Fields' accuracy again. So those short throws, instead of it being on somebody's hip where they have to reach back, they'll make the catch. If it's in stride, then that's the sort of stuff that we haven't seen since 2019 consistently with any regularity.
Yeah. All right. Let's answer a couple of these questions from the good people. Bruce says, do you guys think we need a mobile quarterback or a pocket quarterback? I personally say mobile, but I really think the Niners will draft Jones over Fields, and that's bad. Well, I mean, the way I look at, you can answer it. The way I look at it is, I think I tweeted yesterday, I think in the NFL, you can get kinds of quarterbacks, but when you're drafting, you're just trying to look for the guy who's not going to bust, because God, a lot of them bust.
Yeah. You know? I mean, with this, I mean, when I think mobile is being taken the wrong way. Like, I think when you say mobile, you're thinking about Lamar Jackson. No, mobile means like sliding in the pocket, maybe just moving yourself a little bit, because there's plenty of film on Justin Fields sliding his feet properly while keeping himself as a passer. Again, not talked about, but hey, you know, everybody's, you know, going with their narrative on Twitter, right? But he's known to do
as opposed
that.
to Trey Lance, really. I mean, Trey Lance is more great. Like Fields, you can actually see him going through progressions. I don't even think they really structured offense for Trey Lance very much like that at North Dakota. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. Trey's in a run first offense.
Exactly.
Plenty of throws that are schemed up. You know, it's completely different. Yeah. So I mean, when we say mobile, we're not talking about Lamar Jackson, because I personally don't want my quarterback taking hits. I don't care how big you are. I really don't. So so I don't think that's that. I think it's more about the threat of him when you're running those RPOs and you got the ball in Mostert's gut and Debo's running the other way. Now those linebackers have to sit there for another second to worry about if Justin Fields pulls that thing out, and now he can run the other way. So it's and remember, Justin Fields is a pocket passer. He wants to throw from the pocket. He's not trying to run all the time. He'll run if he has to, but that's not his game.
But I think the mobility, what you want, is because it's specifically to aid you against pressure, right? Because the athletes on the D line are better and better every year, and the athletes on the O line kind of stay the same. It's, you know what I mean? And it seems like you're under siege a lot of times, especially early in the season. And if you can't help yourself at all, or you're not extremely quick decision maker like Tom Brady or Ben Roethlisberger, then you're Jimmy, and you're getting run out of the league, or you're getting hurt and stuff like that. So yeah, mobility is really important. That's why I go to a guy like Kellen Mond and like him. It's like, I think he's got upside. And that's why you like a guy like Trey Lance. It's like, I don't care they only threw 288 passes. I think he's got upside. He's got what he needs to have. And then you look at a guy like Kyle Trask, like, yeah, he's got the numbers, but is that going to translate when he's getting smacked by DNs who run 4.5 and he's over there running a 5.2? So that's why mobility is very important. Yes. Eric said, it says, if the Jets were going to draft a quarterback, wouldn't they have traded Darnold for a draft pick at least? He is a free agent next year.
Not necessarily. That could happen on draft day. You know, there's teams, you know, so here's a funny team to think about that might take a shot on Sam Darnold. And it's something that, you know, I do a show on Saturdays with my good friend Jared Bailey. The Pittsburgh Steelers are somebody that might be looking at Sam Darnold. Ben Roethlisberger's done. This is it. This is the swan song. Now, I don't know if you want to bring in Sam Darnold just to bring him in, because you remember, if you pick up his fifth, you know, you're on the hook for all that money. Still substantially less than what they're paying Ben Roethlisberger right now. But the problem is how do you pick up that option if he's a backup and he's never playing, right? So it doesn't look like the Steelers are going to be in position to take any one of the, the higher quarterbacks because, we've talked about it. There's probably going to be 5-6 quarterbacks in this first round that go, especially now with, Kellen Mond's getting buzzed. Davis Mills is getting buzzed now too. Like that's the sort of thing that's happening. So that's
quarterbacks get pushed up always,
for sure. And quarterbacks are always overdrafted. Imagine in a time during COVID when you really can't even really fully scout the way that you're used to. People are just going off of what they're going off of at this point, whether that's film, whether that's a Zoom call. You really can't get your hands on these guys like you did before, the world went to hell. So the Steelers are really, honestly, a team that everybody should be thinking about when it comes to that. So, I mean, if the Jets are smart, you wait around to draft day. On day 2, you move him or something like that if you get your guy, and you can load up on picks for next year or even get something for this year. So I don't think Sam fetches you a 1 anyway. I don't. So it doesn't really matter. But I think they move him on draft day, if anything. I wouldn't say that that's a telling sign that they won't take somebody at 2.
Raymond Martinez Jr. says Montana, Young, Elway, Favre, Rodgers, all mobile. And they have special abilities. What's Mac's special abilities? It's true. You know who wasn't mobile, though? Brady, Manning, Breeze. I mean, there are other ways to play the position. And the reason that people like Mac Jones is they feel that he has those rare traits that will allow him to win from the pocket. Now, he may not. Because, honestly, how many quarterbacks drafted the last 10 years that didn't have mobility have made it in the league? Really? I mean, does Baker count?
Baker can move a little. Baker can move a little. Yeah, he can.
So, I mean, can Mac move a little? I mean, he can move a little. He can move better than Jimmy. I'll give him that. Well, really, he's not a big 4'8".
His special abilities is throwing with anticipation.
Yes.
Putting the ball placement, understanding what he's seeing from the pocket. I'll give him all of those things. Again, I can say that I prefer one guy over the other and still, heap praise on another guy. Doesn't mean I hate him. Right. Mac Jones has a lot of things that I feel like worked in the old NFL. Like if this was a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, there he is. Look at him. He's not running. He's not running out of the pocket when anything happens. Like that's the sort of that's the sort of guy.
Right.
Like, if he was out a few years ago, people would love him. It's just that right now he's lumped in a draft class with all of these toolsy guys.
It's true.
And it kind of gets lost in the shuffle.
It makes it a very interesting case. And I do feel like the Shanahans are stuck in 1986. They're basically them and Uncle Rico are stuck in 84, 83? They just are. They just really are. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But, I mean, even Andy Reid is more updated. And when I asked Andy Reid at the Super Bowl on media night, like, what do you admire about Kyle Shanahan? He said, well, he's very creative in a very old school template, is what he said. It's like, even I don't use a fullback and go under center all the time. Like, it's very amazing how he's updated the old stuff. It was basically what he said.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I love about Kyle's offense. Everybody thinks it's passing that I'm in love with. It's really the run game and the way that he gets things going. It's these angles that he creates with Kyle Juszczyk and how they run the outside zone. That's really what I get excited about.
And how those run plays look exactly like the play action plays. That's the Shanahan stuff. It's amazing.
And he'll run one play out of a formation, show you, put it on film. You'll think you got it, and then run something completely different out of it. And that's really where he gets you. That's the thing. And it's like a boxer setting up his knockout punch. Jab, jab, and then that's it. Boom, I hit you with it when I see the look that I like.
No question. And he'll take those haymakers like in the first quarter.
Yep.
He'll feel you out in the first drive, and then second drive is like, I'm getting.
And if he hits those, it's going to be like a snowball effect. Like he just goes, it's over for you.
That's what happened in 2019, pretty much. Kajan says you can't trade away what we did for this pick and then take the guy with the lowest ceiling. Jones still has a low floor too. That's a good point. Let me put another point out there. Another way to think of it. You can't trade up that high for a guy with a super low floor. You can't trade up that high for a guy who might bust. I mean, it's not your job, but think of it if it was your job and you traded 3 firsts for a guy who couldn't stay in the league. Say you traded 3 firsts for Dwayne Haskins. You don't get to be a GM ever again, ever. Something to think about. I'm not comparing anyone to Dwayne Haskins. Yeah. I'm just saying there are examples of highly rated quarterbacks who wash out by like 23. I mean, Josh Rosen's one.
Yeah, I mean, and there's no such thing as a sure thing, and I think that's what makes this discussion so fun. And this thing, and I can't wait to see 2 years down the line where I fall in this, what happened, and I'll pull my own receipts and I'll take a look. But that's what makes this interesting, really. And I just think that when
you're going to get pulled so hard, dude. Oh my god.
I know, Grant. I don't like doing that.
There's so many of them. There's so many of them out there. People could do that every day if they had time. But keep going.
No, so just, I mean, it's really about, if you're sacrificing what you're sacrificing, I think at this point, it really is for the high upside guy and not the guy with the safest floor, I think.
Brady is a unicorn. He's not supposed to exist.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
But again, I do think Kyle Shanahan would love Drew Brees. I mean, look how much mileage Sean Payton got out of Drew Brees, who is not the most physically gifted quarterback of all time. I mean, he can't really throw the ball more than 30 yards down the field. Hall of Famer, though. Bruce says, Jason, why don't you like Jones? What's your intake? Jones or Fields?
No, I mean, I don't not like
said Jones. He does like Jones.
Yeah, I don't not like him. I came around to him. And it took me a while because, the Senior Bowl left a bad taste in my mouth. And, and then I said, okay, Jason, no more bias. Watch the damn film and write down everything and try to figure it out. And I came around to him once I was able to finally get his film and watch him in games.
But you should not ignore the initial impression you got from him at the Senior Bowl because that's real. You saw him in person. In fact, that might even be more valid than whatever you think you see on film. Because the film can kind of
it can lie a little.
It's big. Yeah.
My thing is this. I think I have more of a bad taste in my mouth because of what I saw in the Senior Bowl, and I saw people saying that he impressed. And I impressed where? Impressed who? When? That's the part that I was like.
It felt like a media conspiracy. Like someone was.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's good.
They showed that one throw over and over, and I'm like, cool. Yeah. Now show the 4 fumbles that he had right after that play. Yeah. Now show the missed throws that he had. Like what? Like so that's when I started.
Like all I know is the black quarterback was the MVP. The black quarterback was the one who wanted to compete.
Kellen Mond played better than Kellen Mond.
He wanted to compete. He wanted to compete. Mac Jones was like, my ankle hurts. I can't play today. Like, all right, man, cool.
In Bama.
Well, Kellen Mond's going to go take your spot then. I don't know, man. As much as I just made the case for Mac Jones, I 100% prefer Kellen Mond. I mean, I'm sorry. For all the reasons that you prefer Justin Fields. Upside, mobility. I mean, anyway. Matt Rhino, my Rhino says, why not offer a reunion for Meyer of Bosa and 3 for number 1? Bosa is a one-year wonder, in my honest opinion, in his health history. Look, this is an interesting topic. Is Niners make one more deal to get up to number 1? And what do you think?
So this is an interesting discussion, and you've talked about this, okay? So Nick Bosa's injury history is something that might be a concern. Like, what if Nick Bosa comes back and he's a guy who plays on certain snaps because he was an every down guy in 2019? There is that concern. I don't believe that that's what's going to happen, but there is that concern. If that is what can get you to Trevor Lawrence, I don't know, man. I'm not going to answer this one. This one's a little too close for me. I don't know how it's a little bit tough.
Let me look at it the other way. I don't think the Jaguars say yes.
Nah,
I don't.
I wouldn't.
If you got Trevor Lawrence, I mean, even Bosa number 3, like it's great, but we got Trevor Lawrence, and we don't have to worry about quarterback for the next 15 years, probably. So, I don't think it would be enough to get it done. If it is, I'd be interested because I do think I think people are almost overthinking Trevor Lawrence a little bit.
Everybody's getting overthought right now. Everyone's bored. Everyone's overthinking everything at this point. That's why it's best to disconnect right now from all of it. I'm tired of it. I don't want to see anymore.
Yeah. Whenever the Niners make a pick too, I always feel like, man, you haven't been listening to any of my shows the last 3 months. Like, this is stuff we talked about in January. Like, you're still okay. Well, all right, fair enough.
No, that's my thing too. It's just man, it happens every year. And right now, this is because the 49ers are at 3. This is going to make this the longest month in history. I swear.
I'm really trying my best not to miss any of you guys' stuff. Sean says, why couldn't Mac find the weight room at Bama? I don't know, but how come? Oh, real quick. It's not like Tyrann Mathieu was tearing it up in the weight room at LSU. He ended up being a good player. I mean, the body type isn't the most important thing. I mean, look at the best quarterback in the league still is a 43-year-old dude who can't run. So it's not that simple. But yeah, he does look like CJ Beathard. So I'm just saying, it's not a good thing. He looks like CJ Beathard to me. It's scary. But maybe
it's just when he pulled his belly out at the pro day, I was just like, oh, come on, man, look at that thing. Like, get it out of here. Like, exactly. I'm like, put your shirt down, bro.
Can you imagine the design runs with Fields off that Debo sweep? Can't wait.
I can.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
I absolutely
can. Would be really super crazy, and it may happen. The toughness factor with Fields is one of the main reasons Kyle would like him because he could nitpick the throwing motion or the decision making, but he could also say, man, if you give me a year to work with him on the bench, maybe we can fix that. And he's got the one trait that I like the most, which is toughness. Plus, he has all these other things that are great. Travis Howard says Jimmy can't beat cover one. Justin always beats cover one.
It's a good call. I mean, it is. It's a lot of it's on there on film. It's a good call, but again,
good point.
It's just going through the progressions. He does it. It's just I'm just tired of it's so many people that I respect too that are just saying a bunch. Like I had to say this morning, I woke up and I'm like, oh, everybody's on April Fool's stuff at this point. Like everybody's just and some of these people are serious. They're dead looking you in the camera and telling you the wrong thing.
Well, did you hear Chris Sims answer Vicious' question?
No way. What?
Yeah,
he did on the pod.
Yeah, on the pod about Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
It was just interesting. I mean, it was Vicious' question. I don't know how faithfully he answered it, but he basically went on and on and on about his critiques of Justin Fields. And I gotta say, Chris Sims is a very smart, perceptive person, and I take him seriously. I don't agree with everything he says, but it was interesting to hear him lay it out there. And I gotta say, I basically agree with him. But have you heard it? Have you heard it?
No, yeah. I mean, I think Vish told me. I just didn't hear all of it. I've heard his critiques, and it's just like some of those things I'm like, okay, But and again, Chris Sims has skin in the game because he does want to be a GM, so he's definitely not pushing a narrative for anybody.
No, he's trying to be right, and he's saying like, are these things fixable? Maybe, maybe not. Hard to say. Tobin says, wouldn't it make more sense to question the work ethic of the guy who is a pizza away from being overweight? Fields' narrative is puzzling to me. Yes. Can
I talk about something else too?
I'm not saying anything about Fields. I don't know, dude. Yeah, say something.
So all of these things about now work ethic kind of speaks to character. Why are we not talking about Mac Jones' DUI? Why is that not a concern? I love the concerns that are placed on everyone else. I love the concerns that go, Trey Lance only has one season. So does Zach. Character concerns for Justin Fields, DUI for Mac. Can you guys please keep it a buck across with all of these people and not just the person that you're trying to push? Please stop it. It's annoying. It really is. If you have concerns about this player, then that same concern should be for that player if he has the same exact thing of only 1 year body of work. That's
What's funny is that like the media reports it as like, well, it's not our concerns. We're just don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. We've just heard certain teams feel this way about Justin. It's like, well, we can't verify it. And it's probably true that certain teams feel that way. But who's to say they're right? And who's to say that this league that, ran Colin Kaepernick out of it wouldn't just be a little harsher on someone like Fields than Jones? That's probably realistic, right? Like, honestly, I'm just guessing if Justin Fields had a DUI in his background, even if he was 19.
If Justin Fields had a DUI,
NFL teams would talk about it.
3rd round grade. Never touch him in the 1st round. Never touch him.
Who had a DUI on his record and fell to the 4th round?
Dak Prescott. Yeah.
So
and this front office didn't. Chip Kelly was the one saying, "Can you get me Dak?" And they were so concerned.
Can't
and
sell
this is Richard's point. Yeah. You can't sell it to the fan base because you already had a bunch of arrests and DUIs with everyone else.
Now, here's the thing: Kyle Shanahan has much more power in the organization than Chip, and I feel like Chip, like Jed, almost has like a man crush on him. You know what I mean? Like I made this analogy yesterday, but it's like your buddy in college who like started dating a girl way out of his league and just like gave up all the things that he thought meant to him, like all the things he liked and thought. It's like, yeah, man, whatever she says, I'm just happy to be here, man. Like I just have Kyle Shanahan, whatever he wants. It's like Parag was ready to say like, nah, Trent, this is our final offer, and Trent was like, all right, well, I'm calling Kyle. Kyle made that thing happen so fast. So all I'm saying is, if Kyle says, look, Jed, I need Mac. You don't know. Give me what I want, or else our relationship's never gonna be the same. Jed's gonna be like, whatever you say, Kyle. Just, I'm really enjoying this relationship. I don't leave. I'm really enjoying this relationship. Rob says in 2020, Jones put up the best stats of any NCAA quarterback in recent years. Better than Russell, Mayfield, Murray, you name it. Why doesn't that factor in? It does.
Because the context.
It does.
The context, though. But the context.
It does. Okay? Yeah. Yes. You have to put in the context. He's on the best team in college football. The best team. Right? Oh, no. I talked through you, and then he froze. He's going to come back, though. 2020. Oh, no, you're back. McDonald's. All right. Oh, he's back.
Yeah. All right. So here's the thing. Context is important. Okay. Have you ever seen 2 receiver classes have Jerry Jeudy, Henry Rugg, Devontae Smith, Jacob Waddle, and now pro style offense, didn't face the level
Yep.
of competition that all these other people had. Stats are meaningless when it comes to this. I don't care about all that. Tim Tebow was tearing up college. None of that matters. I'm not comparing that to that. It's just, if you're going to say that stats are the reason that Mac Jones should be ahead of somebody, that's a hard disagree.
Yeah, you don't want to scout based on stats. Tua had great stats. Haskins had great stats.
Tua had great stats in that same offense.
Yeah.
There's your point as well, too.